these totes remind me of death, so. Well, we need to talk about after treatment. Alright, so I want to talk about after treatment. I've been wanting to do that video for several weeks now. For you guys that don't know, I have a diesel shop and I have those parts laying on the shelf, and that shop's the Bermuda Triangle of my time. Anytime I show up, poof, my hours are gone. Anyway, so as usual, I'm driving. I walked outside just for you guys to show you what I'm hauling, for those guys curious, so they're not saying, oh, I'm just bumping his lips. So there's 6 totes. So DEF, how much DEF do you use, right? What all is special about that Platinum DEF? What about your EGR? What about your EGR cooler? Guys, I hate the system overall, but there's few fundamental things you guys need to understand about the after treatment. Why it's called an after treatment. It's the aftermath of how clean your engine runs, all right? So here, let's finish with the facts. So 6 totes, I'm guesstimating about 15,000 pounds on that trailer. So you guys can see my temps, see how it pulls. There's a couple rolling hills. They all work out great. I guess we're doing a double point of this video. You guys get to see how my truck tows at the weight and climbing a few hills, and then we get to talk about after treatment. I've done a similar video about after treatment, and I absolutely I've answered most of the questions, but I want to come from a different point of view. I want to vaguely touch the maintenance, because this question came up again. How long do you expect the components to last? And twofold, what do you do to make them last longer? Okay, so your EGR, we're talking about 4th gens. I'm going to reference to these numbers, maintenance numbers, per my 4th gen experience. My 5th gen experience with after treatment's been all over the place, and that's due to the engine. We'll get later in this video about those details. Your engine has a lot to do with your after treatment. So as far as components, your EGR, if it lasts the first 60,000 miles, you'll be just fine about 300. That's what we're seeing. 300, give or take, the EGR lasts. I mean, shoot, I've seen one OEM at 450, 475-ish, creeping up to 500,000. The guy's DPF was cracked. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. So that's the EGR. EGR cooler, 150. Average use 150. Well, I've seen a couple at 300. Don't go that long, guys. It's a radiator. You're pushing 150,000 out of the EGR cooler. The DPF, if everything runs right and your engine runs efficiently, about 300,000. There's guys pushing them longer, and that's it. 300,000 on that DPF, and you should switch it out. A lot of guys go to cleaning. There's a special solution. You dump down the filter, let it soak in. Guys, I can't say I've had good results. I can't say it works, but on a small scale. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, it's clean, but it'll never last as good as a new one. I keep my eyes out open on marketplaces, people trying to get rid of the exhaust systems. I'll pick them up for pennies on the dollar, and that's how I keep up with my stuff for the most part. Sometimes we have to go out and buy. My shop's working on an aftermarket solution right now, where you buy a case, an aftermarket case, and you just swap out the cartridges inside, which is pretty cool. And the company, well, it's in the works, guys. So the DPF, 300,000, and we're talking highway miles. Now later we'll get into it, and you can kind of do your own math. How much shorter would you expect that system to last? So all these miles being highway, big thing is highway, because it creates heat and it creates a consistent flow, consistent cleaning, right? I call it little regen, big regen, right? There's what's the actual terminology for it? Call it like passive, and then call it aggressive. Okay, well, we'll leave it at that. There's you're tooting down the road, your DPF's keeping up with itself, keeping itself clean, it all goes well. And then sometimes it goes and flat out regens, cooks the piss out of the filter. So the less regens you have, think of the filter as cycles. the less cycles that filter goes through, the longer it'll last. The longer your filter, your DPF, is going to last. And what I mean by last, because with all the cycles, the thermal cycles, it's not only clean and not clean. The stuff disintegrates. As I said, the guy with almost 500,000 came in and he's spewing black smoke. The truck isn't running, and I'm like, well, what the heck happened to you? You know, we dropped the DPF and that thing's all cracked up and needs to be just thrown away. So put a new filter on it. Truck kept running, and today's day it's still running. It's running healthy. The dude's actually a neighbor of mine, so I get to keep an eye on that truck. He loves this truck. It's a dually. He used to tow heavy with it. Not anymore. He kind of uses it as a personal rig now. He got out of the hot shop. He got in a big rig now. But anyways, so those are the components. Those are the average expected range out of those components, what we see out of high mileage units. Now let's talk about maintenance. This is the one I really wanted to keep. People think they could put in special DEF. I've heard and I've seen cleaners for DEF. I never was able to confirm they work or they don't. It's just, you know, you got so many things going when you're trying to clean up a DPF. You give it that run on the highway, you put a load on it, and that's your best cleaning, in my opinion. Get it on the highway, run it for an hour, especially if you got hills, just put a load on it. Not always the heavier the better, or the harder the scrub, right? Think of it as cleaning. If you got a lot of gunk, think of it as carbon, because it literally is what it is. You got a lot of carbon, right, on a piston, you slowly start cleaning it off. You don't go and scrape. Same thing with the filter. Just slow and steady is always a good cleaning process. Let it be oil additives, let it be fuel injector cleaner, a lot of things. Slow and steady is the key, I think, to a lot of things in life. So there we have that, right? The biggest key to your after treatment is how well is your, hold on a second, let's fix this camera. How well is your engine maintained? You know, is your engine actually smoking a lot? Does it have to clean up a lot of smoke, or does it just kind of put along? So that's a big key. I don't know what the grade is for a fact, but if I had to put a number on it, I would put, here, let me get it off cruise. Cruise is not the best idea to tow on, but I'm trying to multitask here. Oh shoot, my cancel button quit working. That's crazy. Alright, so I'm kind of pushing her a little too high on the RPM, so here, you'll get to watch it. I backed off. I want to run this thing anywhere between 22 and 2,500, but I don't want to just drop my momentum, so I've backed off. I've backed off the throttle just so we slow down. Alrighty, we created a boost leak. Great. No, it's something else. Clutcher, a fan clutch or something. That's odd. Well, that's the price you pay for driving high mileage. If you haven't noticed, that's 549,600 miles. Guys, I'm gonna hang up the keys to this thing. I got a little secret for you. I bought a brand new truck. Yeah, I freaking am excited about it. It's a temporary truck, so my heart is with the Mega Cab. I'm gonna spill a little bit of beans. My heart is in the Mega Cab. I'm just waiting for the new Mega Cab to be released, and it's been a bit of a struggle with my busy schedule to keep this thing on the road. So I was presented with a good opportunity, and I jumped on it. Okay, gotta keep watching to see my new truck. It's coming. It's already in town waiting for me. It's paid for, signed for. It was in transit when I was doing the paperwork. Now it has arrived, so in about 4 hours I'll be driving my new truck. Back to this. Whoa, fellas, we got it. Alright, let's fix this camera so it's out of my way. Well, that doesn't work. You guys want to see the gauges? Let's do something like that. Maybe? Let's see. So the after treatment is a big maintenance factor to your engine. It's the after treatment. It's the aftermath, how clean your engine works. So I advise people to do the filters every oil change. My oil changes, depends what truck it is. 5th gens every 10,000, 4th gens anywhere 15 to 20,000. You know, if a truck's towing heavy, you got to keep in mind the truck's towing what, 24,000 pounds behind it. Well, no, I did my math wrong. So 15 plus 9. No, that's 24,000 miles behind it. 24,000 pounds, guys. You know I'm tired. I better go home and relax. So it's a 4th gen. It doesn't burn oil, to my surprise, but it's still an older truck, so you got to baby it. And the more fuel you put through oil, that's the real killer. You know, everyone reverts to or defaults to mileage. It's not mileage, guys. It's really gallons through that engine. How many gallons of fuel did your engine burn that your fuel had to combat, or that your oil have to combat with fuel? That's all it is. And the healthier engine you have, the cleaner it runs, the more oxygen in the air, the bigger bang you get in the combustion chamber, and then the cleaner the pipe comes out, the exhaust is cleaner. It's a domino effect. There's no way around it, you know. Yes, certain after treatments are better than others. I would call these 4th gens middle of the road after treatment. For the most part, you take care of them, they take care of you. 5th gens are more sensitive to idling, but they also clean up faster. So you give and take a little bit, and that's all it is. You gotta pick your battles in life. Can't have everything, right? Some people are gonna say delete your truck. That's on you. But to run the after treatment, that's what's to be expected, right? Those miles. I'm gonna wrap up this video. It's became a long one, but biggest key is keeping your engine in a healthy condition, maintenance, and your after treatment will be just fine. Don't be lazy. Don't be cheap. Use common sense. My rule of thumb on oil is the mileage or 6 months, whatever comes quicker, right? I'm not the guy that does mileage, or excuse me, I'm not the guy that doesn't do the mileage in 6 months, but if it were to happen, truck sits around, like right now, we're gonna put a couple old trucks back on the road. They've been sitting around, so they're getting new oil. I don't care what's the mileage on that oil. They've been sitting around for a minute, so they're going right back on the road. So that's another key. The cleaner the oil, not everyone, a lot of people have said, oil is oil, just keep up with your maintenance. Yes and no. You know, these engines with the after treatment, the oil actually plays a big role in your regen. Like a big role is what we've gathered thus far. So don't buy the cheapest oil, especially turbo engines. If you're working them, you know, think of it as exponentially higher grade oil is required. Like doing what I'm doing right now, I'm not pushing the truck, but I'm towing on the heavier side. Take care of your fluids, you know. This oil will not be in here any longer than 10,000 miles, you know. And I said 15 to 20 on 4th gens. Yeah, but you know, when you got to push your truck, you know, we're entering a decent sized hill climb, right? This truck will try to fight everything, and I don't necessarily like that. I kind of keep an eye on it. If it maintains speed, I let it do its thing. But I typically don't like to climb hills and overdrive. I'll just let it roll out. Oh, look at that fighter jet. Can you guys see it? Right there. That is awesome, dude. I keep forgetting about the gorge here. They fly through here often. Man, I wish my camera was nicer. It's just sitting there fighting the gorge. Just flying sideways, as I call it. So yeah, oil is a big contributing factor to your after treatment as well. So don't overlook that. Filters, fuel. You know, lately I can't tell you. Maybe because it's a habit not to fuel up at all. Subconsciously, I know that those fuel stations are bad. But lately, we haven't come across any bad fuel, necessarily bad. Like it'll put you in limp mode, or you got a bunch of water in it. Yes, I still avoid gloves like the plague. Maybe because I get such a good deal at the petrol and TAs. I got all my diesel trucks got big fuel tanks, so having those big fuel tanks gives me a good savings. And yeah, it is what it is. You know, that's just how it is. Sorry, I wasn't showing you the gauges. I'm the first sucker to watch numbers when it comes to climbing. Oh shoot, what's this camera doing? Oh, it's focused. You guys can see it. It's not bad. Temps are within reason. You guys got to realize it's 74 degrees outside. It's not piping hot, but it ain't no, you know, 50 or 40 degree weather where that air is a lot more dense. It's, 70, it's still decent. I've noticed turbocharged, supercharged vehicles, it's north of 90 around here. My supercharged Mercedes kind of starts struggling. My diesel trucks, I notice a power loss after a certain amount. Here's another key. When you're towing, try to keep your transmission locked up, and Fortunes will not stay locked up in second for the most part. You see how I've selected second? Here, I'll get on the throttle a little bit. You see it just holds it, just the boost goes up there. You guys can tell. A little bit off the throttle, now on the throttle, right? And your transmission isn't slipping. It's locked in and it's not burning itself to the ground. It's still creating a decent amount of heat. So when you're in a situation like this and you're towing uphill, try to find a gear that your transmission will lock in and go with it, Slow and steady typically wins the race. Like in my case, I'm keeping the transmission locked. I'm spinning that engine. 2000's a kind of sweet spot of mine for heavier tow. I kind of like that 2000. Mild climbs, On the heavier climbs, maybe 2200. I'm not worried about 2000 being low. But like I did the other hill about a minute ago, right? Kind of low. I think it was at 16, 1800. Kind of low for my liking. Right now, we're slowly excelling. So here we go. Trucks running effortlessly, and these temperatures are really not that bad. They're just a touch higher than usual, really. That's all there is to it. The tandem dual trailer creates its own drag with those tires, right? And then the load, the tow, it's aerodynamic is, the air being slammed up outside the cans definitely creates a drag, but I think the tandems create more. Anyways, guys, as I said, it's probably my last drive in this truck. This truck's been nothing but a blessing, and no, I'm not selling it. No, I'm not letting anyone have it. This truck is gonna get I have a list from my shop, little gremlins that I want ironed out on it before it goes anywhere. Now I gotta add the sound, the boost sound, it seems like. I think the clamp kind of got loose on the intake horn. That's a typical one. Keep in mind, we just did springs and push rods on this thing. This thing got a few toys under the hood. Bells and whistles. So this truck's going to stay in the family. I want this truck to be my son's first truck. My oldest son, he's 10 years old, 10 and a half, David. So I want him to have this truck. David joined our family in January of 14, and I bought this thing, I think. Picked it up in March of 14? No. I ordered it in March and I received it in May. So, yeah. I absolutely love the sound of the exhaust brake for a little bit, and then I want silence, but I know I'm going to miss that sound. The other truck's pretty much a hybrid, man. That thing's so quiet. That's an SMB intake. Let me finish that. I know a lot of people love that sound. That's what it is. An SMB intake sounds phenomenally. Absolutely loved it. I'll throw a little thing with the springs. After I did springs and push rods, adjust the valves, I feel more pressure being released upon exhaust brake opening, right? So you're coming to a sound, or you're coming to a stop, and the thing, you can hear the sound, and when the vanes open, you hear it like, dude, there's pressure in that thing, where before you wouldn't hear that. So that's telling me the cylinders, or the valves, are sealing a lot better, therefore my cylinder pressure is higher, and my engine's running more efficient. So yeah, guys, in a situation like this where you've towed, you came to a stop, look at these numbers. They don't look bad, they're not quite down. Guys, believe me, that cooling system is fighting some heat right now. You shut off this truck, it's gonna start cooking, and it's gonna start cooking quick. So yeah, that's that. Anyways, fellas, may the Lord bless you. May you almighty find day, and as always, God bless you. Bye-bye.